wanted to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about theory in a word that if you're trained in a professional kitchen, you've heard time and time and time again, and that's mise en place. It's a French word, and it translates to everything in its place. And it's a very critical aspect to cooking and cooking well and reaching the final plate long before you get started. So you've analyzed how things have been cut, cooked, smoked, roasted, fine minced, whatever the technique might be, but they're all equally important when it comes to assembling a final dish. I'm going to use an example of just a basic salad without a recipe and kind of address the theory behind walking through knife cuts, poaching something, smoking a piece of fish, whatever it might be. So what you start out with is looking at your knife cuts. And so in this case we have some potatoes, which I cut into quarters, and then I had to just blanch these in a little bit of salted water, making sure that they were nice and tender but not falling apart. So that was part of the mise en place, was the potato. And then I did the same thing with a little bit of butternut squash. Just cut it into little triangle pieces and then gave it a good 3-minute blanching process because I didn't want to eat it raw and I didn't want to wait for it in a roasting. I wanted to keep it very clean. Again, it's a salad. And then other forms of mise en place, in this case, taking Brussels sprouts, peeling the leaves off, and having those ready to go when they're raw. So there's no cooking involved there, just the raw Brussels sprout leaves. And then a little julienne, so practicing some of the knife cuts, a little julienne carrot, all ready to go. And then carefully picking some parsley leaves off the stem, so they're just kind of the lettuce to my salad, if you will. And then a little pieces of smoked salmon here that are already sliced a little bit and ready to crumble, and of course salt and pepper, and then having the dressing already made. Instead of making it in the bowl, you have it. So we know where all these ingredients are at this point as we begin to assemble them. So that's what you would see on a cook station. And they're going to make many of these a night, but that's part of the mise en place. And so this is all there along with other dishes that a cook is making. But doing this at home, it's the same approach. So you can approach your dinner parties or your entertainment with a sense of having more ease. I'm pretty much done with the dinner. I don't have to do much more. So then I'll system out. In this case, I don't want to oversimplify it, but the potato would go in there, and then the butternut squash would go into the bowl. And then the picked Brussels sprout leaves would go into the bowl. The julienne of the carrot would go into the bowl. And then the parsley leaves. And I might leave the smoked salmon off to the side just because I want to put that on top. And then we'll do a little more salt in there. A few cranks of fresh ground black pepper. You may just want to leave it in the bowl and eat it in the bowl. Then the vinaigrette, just a little bit of Dijon mustard and Chardonnay wine vinegar would go into there, and then it would get tossed together, making sure it's coated, the salt, the pepper, the vinaigrette. We got a little bit of cooked, we got a little bit of raw, so we have textural variations going on with the salad. And then this is just an example of one, and then that would go on to the plate. And we reach for the smoked salmon, leaving it kind of distinguished in its flavor, not getting overly coated, so there's a little more texture variation in there. But it wouldn't arrive at this point so easily. There you've done something in a matter of seconds almost. That's like when they say you can make this in a matter of minutes. You can't really make anything in a matter of minutes until you've done the mise en place on the backside. So just stressing that that's a different way to look at how you approach your recipes, why they're charted out the way they are, and it's all part of gathering, putting together, and so when it comes time to make the actual dishes, it's much easier to do. So keep that in mind, mise en place. It's a good practice, it's a good word, and it's a good way to organize your kitchen habits.